Alright everybody, I just thought I'd do this little video. It's not a knife review, it's just something that caught my attention, something that I kind of want to give a little praise to. So let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. I just want to show my appreciation for Spyderco and their company. And the way to do that, especially now, is not just a thank you or the fact that I'm even showing the knives that I've put my hard-working money towards, but just kind of doing, like, I don't know if this is really a shout-out video. I think it's a little bit more than just a thank you video. I know that for sure. So anyways, I have these two knives right here, and long story short, I ended up trying to swap pocket clips. I wanted to put a deep carry pocket clip on this one, so I had to take it off of this one. I had a Lynch deep carry pocket clip, but it was a little bit longer than this one. But I wanted this size to be on this knife, so I swapped the pocket clips. And then I figured that the smock was not a knife that I wanted to EDC all the time. It just, I don't know, it's fidget friendly, but I really, really liked carrying my canis, so I ended up swapping them back. And as you can tell, this has no pocket clip. And that's because I stripped the screws. Not purposely, I did it. I'm pretty sure I was a little tired, a little stressed out, and I wasn't having a really good day, so I ended up trying to, and I'm normally not the type of guy who rushes things. I'm very meticulous and patient, and I always try to make sure that I don't strip my screws. I've never stripped any of my screws except for this knife, and I'm pretty sure it's the way that this knife is designed. I've never had an issue with any other Spydercos while taking on and off the pocket clips using the same screws. But by doing this, it ended up causing an issue with the metal scale on the inside underneath the G10 carbon fiber laminate scale. I ended up snapping a screw, so I had to take the knife apart and take some pliers to the back end of it and unscrew the other part of that screw out. And I was holding the top portion of the screw in my hand. It snapped in half. I guess it caught the threading through the G10, but it didn't catch the threading through the metal scale. And it just messed up the threading completely. And then, of course, the other screw, it just stripped halfway, so the threading didn't catch also, and so that could have been partially my fault. But I normally try to I screw in, and then I kind of calm myself down. I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit of resistance. It's probably not catching right. I screw backwards so it comes back out, and then I try to very patiently screw it back in. But even then, sometimes if the threading gets jacked up, the damage is already done. Anyways, the swapping of the pocket clips ended up in the result of this knife with jacked up screws, this knife with no screws. And I ended up taking the screws from this knife to put it on this knife so it can hold this pocket clip so I can continue carrying it at the time. But then that meant that this knife had no pocket clip at all. So I ended up getting really frustrated with the whole ordeal. I didn't like the fact that I had to take screws from this knife to put on this knife, and the screws on this knife are longer than the ones on this one, so it just didn't look right. Things weren't flush, and I was just so irritated that I put the two away out of frustration. And then one of my buddies, one of my other knife guys, I was telling him, he was like, "Yeah, man, how you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah." And of course, he wanted to know how I was, and I told him what I got frustrated about, and he was like, "Oh man, you should call Spyderco." And I said, "Why? What?" They're just gonna laugh at me. They're gonna be like, "Well, you're an idiot. You shouldn't have done that." And I'm like, "Well, I wanted to switch my pocket clips." Anyways, he told me, he's like, "No, they're not gonna do that. If anything, they'll send it to you for free." I said, "What? That's hogwash. I've never heard of that. You always got to pay for something." And basically, it came down to just call them, and I did. And they sent me some new screws. And what's really awesome is they even sent me some Loctite with it, and I got them right here. So here it is. brand new screws. And the cool thing about this is that it didn't cost me a dime. They sent it to me for free, complimentary. And here's the Loctite. Now this is good for a couple of knives, probably even a third knife. That's a lot of Loctite, at least in my opinion. If you're just going to use this just for the pocket clips, this is a decent amount right there. And the screws are tiny, so you only need just a tiny bit. This will last you a little bit. That's really cool. Probably not going to get into this because I already have a tube of Loctite, but this is actually really neat. I can keep this as a backup. So that's really cool. And here are the two screws. I'm going to have to find out which one goes to what. I think one's longer than the other, so this one's probably for this one's probably for that. That's just me assessing what I already got. This came in today, so it was really, really cool. So to Spyderco, I thank you. You guys are awesome. I love your guys' knives, and I even like your guys' customer care. It's really cool. Really, really cool. So I ended up calling them. There was an extension I had to put. I think it was like the first, I think it was 1. So, of course, that gives you a free or a brand new pocket clip replacement. But what ended up happening was I told the lady, I said, hey, I just need new screws. I don't need a pocket clip. You know, how can I make that happen? And then she goes, oh, let me transfer you to another department, and I'll be the one to answer the phone. That happened. She answered the phone. She got me down. I said, hey, it's a couple of knives, not one. She goes, that's fine. I said, you know, I don't need any pocket clips. Like I said, I just need some screws. You know, I'll pay for it, whatever. She's like, okay, well, let me get your personal information, blah, blah. So I did all that. And then she goes, okay, they will be at your house. She goes, well, what knives? And I told her the Canis and the Smock. Heard some typing on the keyboard. And then she's like, yeah, you'll get them in 7 to 10 business days. I was sitting there kind of flabbergasted. I was like, wait a minute. Do you need my card information? You need me to, you know, how do I pay for this? She goes, oh, don't worry about it. It's complimentary. So I was like, wow, you know, I was really blown away by that. And I was like, I'll see it to believe it. It came in today. I did this phone call a little bit before Christmas. So that was really cool. I got my screws. So I got a second shot. And I think that is just awesome. So hats off to Spyderco. Thank you guys very much. I think that is really, really awesome. If you guys need anything to be replaced on, you know, whether it's screws or pocket clips, they might even do it. Well, I shouldn't say might. They should do it free of charge. They did it for me anyways, at least for the screws. And, of course, they even said that they would do it the same way with their pocket clips. So I think that's still pretty accurate. Or at least I hope so anyways. And that's really awesome. So the fact that they do that is just really cool. I've never had too many problems with my knives. This is the first kind of thing that I've ever had to get into with that. I did have a bit of a problem with my with one of my cold steel knives, and talking to one of the sales representatives wasn't all that great of an experience. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. I'm not really going to get into it. It just wasn't a good experience. I didn't really care for it. So I have so many knives that if I don't care, I just toss it to the side and I go for another knife and I'll carry it. But because these are Spyderco is my favorite company of knives, and I do love their knives, that it's just kind of bothered me to the point where I felt like I needed to do something about it, and they accommodated to it with no hassle. So that's really awesome. Anyways, I just thought I'd add that. If you guys need any help with their products, go ahead and contact them. Their customer care service is pretty good. It's pretty decent. So I don't know. Hats off to them. So off camera, I'm going to go ahead and put my screws on and put this one back with the pocket clip. And yeah, so it's just awesome. It's really good. I know I say that a lot. Awesome, but I was really blown away by this. So that's really cool. So that's awesome. Anyways, be kind, be safe, carry responsibly. Please, please, please. Slash that like button, stab that subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.